Technology has made it so easy to change stuff and things, right? And that's why the PowerPoint presentation can change 9 times
Right.
and cost
And to
a lot.
proliferate and to create more slides and more
So
slides
what are
and more
the other
slides.
options, Kathy?
So the option, first of all, is when you're planning a presentation, Jim, you don't want to go to the software. You have to defer that. You start with a blank sheet of paper and you start thinking about your objectives, about your audience, about your message. People don't think about their message. What is the single most important thing I need to communicate in this presentation? If you don't know that going in, what makes you think a bunch of slides is going to be clear to the audience?
Right.
The message is lost.
Right.
So you start, I call it go analog, Jim. Go analog, start with it, and I have a tool in the book called clean sheet thinking. Spend 30 minutes thinking before you build. That's the first recommendation. If you need something visual to prove a point, to help the audience, then by all means, create a PowerPoint slide. But you don't have to have 56. 2 might do the job, 3 might do the job.
Right.
So you want to be the master of the visual medium and understand what do you need to make the point. So you have choices.
So is this something you just started, Kathy? in terms of the...
This book has been 10 years in the making. And there are all sorts of client examples and stories. So I've been learning from my clients. I've been studying the issues that they face. I've been watching their solutions and techniques and creating methodology to help them.
Okay, so you didn't wake up one day and say, Kathy, I'm against PowerPoint. You've been watching this go on and on and on, and you said,
I see the
enough.
madness.
You
I see
said
the
enough.
insanity.
You're sort of like the woman in Network that said, I'm mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore. So this comes out, but it is cultural. It's endemic to the corporation. So what kind of resistance to change do you get, Kathy?
So for example, I was at a meeting with a very creative company, and they were wanting to share the company vision statement. And so the question came up, and they couldn't get it, it wasn't off the top of their head. So they started going to their computers to find a PowerPoint deck that had the company vision statement. And I thought that was rather ironic. Like, if you don't know your own company's vision and mission and you have to have a slide, that's a problem. And guess what? That deck was like 40 slides to talk about the vision. So we get lost and we don't understand these core concepts.
Right.
I was working with another executive who just gave a major presentation at a bankers conference of New England. And I started with, okay, show me what you got, what's your message? And of course she has all her slides, but she's not clear on the message. And she was nervous, so she talked fast. And it was, quite frankly, and she would admit it too, it was boring. And so we started all over. We set aside the slides, we started with that clean sheet, we started thinking about our message, and we started introducing storytelling and examples. And if a slide was necessary, we just put up a picture, Jim, that created motion and emotion. And she became more confident, more excited herself. And I just heard just last week from her peers, she nailed it. She was awesome. And she's given the same talk now 2 additional times. So
who do you find more resistant to change? The people who've been using PowerPoint for 20 years or the ones that just started using it?
The ones who've been using it for 20 years. Right. But even the ones that have just been using it, they feel like they are corporately constrained. If I take a risk and don't use 20 slides, I'll get in trouble.
Oh, really?
And so, so then I have to say to them, okay, are you willing to take the risk? Who's in charge of your presentation, you or that marketing head who did that 20 years ago? What would happen if after all the PowerPoint slide presentations and then you show up and you do it differently?
So do you find, Kathy, when you're invited into a company to talk about this kind of stuff, that the effect of what you do has like the ripple effect of throwing a stone in the water? Just ripples throughout the whole company?
Yes. So I coach the executives, I work with their leaders, and then I do a lot of the middle management. But I'm really empowering from the middle. It's a movement from the middle. And when leaders see their people communicate in a compelling, creative, compassionate way, they get excited.
Right.
I often say boards of directors aren't called boards of directors because they like to be bored.
Yeah, they like to be bored.
They want to be engaged, and you're there to communicate so that they can make better decisions, guide the company.
Well, I'll tell you this, Kathy, that an effective presentation can be very, very powerful in a company. Very, very powerful. But beyond that, I mean, I wish you the best of luck with
Thank
this
you.
because I think you're onto something.
Great title, huh?
Yeah, great title, and I have a bias toward it because I'm just not a big believer in any speech or presentation I've ever given of standing there and reading from slides. I just much rather be interactive with the group I'm talking
To engage.
To engage.
That's the essence of engaging your audience.